that happens in the next 4 weeks, we might have to accept that the top is in. Welcome to Sol Brothers with, myself, Simon, where it is my job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem. And it is me today that you guys have to cope with. Because is on some I think some wedding celebrations, I think, in India, in the last corners of India. So I'm gonna do the solo. It's the first time actually I'm doing this solo. You see, I have my hands free if you're watching the YouTube, because I need my hands to navigate the keyboard today, so I won't use our fancy mics. But yeah, good to be here. We have shit to talk about. I have a packed agenda. I'm not gonna do a lot of yapping at the beginning here, and I'm just gonna dive right in, because today on the show agenda we do have a new SIMD proposal. SIMD 0307 has been proposed from the Firedancer team, and they are suggesting to add a block footer to each Solana block. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And that's not the only infrastructure level Solana piece I got for you today. There is another piece of technology called Harmonic. And Harmonic is supposed to help the block building process and make it more efficient, more faster, and result in faster and bigger blocks. So that has been announced yesterday, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and take a look at it. So you get the TLDR on Harmonic as well. Brand new, just been launched yesterday. Today it's Thursday, the 6th of November. And yeah, we're covering the latest and greatest, and it doesn't stop there. We have a new AI shopping app on Solana called Dupe, and we found that is pretty interesting. So we're going to talk about it as well. Besides this, Aura, a project you might have seen around, has now launched a secret app. Besides that, we have a new crypto card on the Solana ecosystem that we can now use to directly pay from our Solana wallets, which has been launched from MetaMask. The MetaMask card is now integrated with Solana. Obviously, one of the big topics today is going to be what's happening in the markets, because today I'm alone, so I don't have Eno to tell me when to stop yapping about prices. So I'm going to take a good look at the charts, and we're going to talk a little bit about what happened over the past week, because guys, it's been brutal. Besides that, we do have limit orders directly in your Solana wallet by Solflare. We have some statistics, because Flashtrade gave us the monthly recap of the month of October. So we're going to check that out. And we might also open a little trade on Flashtrade, because why not? I think that might be some of our first things we do today on the show. So I think what I'm going to start with is exactly that, honestly. Let's go over to Flashtrade and see if we can do something fun here while we're on the podcast today. If you haven't tried Flashtrade out yet, then make sure to check them out, because it is one of the best perp dexes on Solana, if not the best, with lowest fees and leverage up to 500x, which is honestly pretty insane. And we're going to make use of that. We are going to activate the degen mode. It's already activated here, so I can select leverage of up to 500x, which you should not do. Let me be clear here. This is, don't do that at home. Don't do this at home. So we're gonna go over to the 5-minute chart, and we're taking a look at Solana. And the RSI is right now right in the middle, trading around 50. So that is a bit tough. Probably we're ranging a lot right now. So actually, this doesn't really give me a good setup for such a short trade. This looks a bit better. Let's check Bitcoin out, because Bitcoin is dropping. This might give me an opportunity to just sweep the low resistance here with a leverage long of like 150x. Why not? Because I can. 150 sounds good, right? So that means if I put in $25 here, I have a position size of $3,200, literally with $25, which is insane to me. But that also means that my liquidation level, is not that far away. But fuck it. We're gonna we don't do this at home, guys. This is not financial advice. Anything I'm saying is never financial advice. But we open the position. It is open. We have a long with 150x on Flashtrade right now. And let's see how this goes. While I'm recording today, we're gonna check it out once in a while to see where we're going. But let's go back to the agenda. And I would say it is a good time to probably start with the charts, because now I just opened a 150x trade on the 5-minute chart, which is silly, but I want to know what's going on in the long term here. So let me pull up the chart here for you guys. We have definitely a bit of a bleeding situation here on the Solana chart, because since the $250 that we saw, we dropped quite a bit. We saw a decline of 40%, guys. 40% price drop on the Sol chart, all the way down to sub $150. I honestly didn't see that coming. So I thought we're going to retrace a little bit, but not that much, because if you look at the daily here, and we're going to try to get rid of the clutter here a little bit, we definitely had a really clean break and of the Simon support line, which has been providing support for a few weeks. We've been talking about this every single week, how we kind of trade in that range, and we're bouncing from the highs to the lows. We're breaking out a little bit, but it's interesting to see really how recently, since basically September, we've been seeing more volatility in that range. So we broke out of the upside range to the $250, and now we break down to the downside range in the $150. I think it provides a really interesting trading setup. I think most of us already bought the dip, and the dip kept dipping, so we don't have more dipping budget, which is fine. But now prices are really low, and RSI on the daily chart of the Solana price touched the 30, which is oversold territory, just when we went below $50 in the past 3 days. And that has been a clear signal for me that we might turn around from here. And there's definitely some support down here as well, because there was the wave 4 low that is now basically invalidated, honestly, because we made a lower low. So that yellow wave count here is not valid anymore, because I would have to restructure this a little bit. We have to recount this because we made a lower low. But nevertheless, on the 2nd of August, we made $155 low here inside the range, and now we're at that level again. Right now we're trading at 159, and price has broken the $150 level, but not substantially. The daily candles closed above $150, like 2. And right now we're trying to secure that position again and might turn around. Let me be frank here, though. There's no confirmation that this has been it and that we can't go lower. We can definitely go lower. There's substantial resistance around the $130 price level, which I know it sounds really deep, but 150 also sounded very deep when we were trading above 200. So anything is possible in this market right now. I can't track a 5-wave move to the upside right now. The best I could track right now is a 3-wave correction, which would be something like an A, a B, and now a C to the upside. So that is a 3-wave move, and 3-wave moves are corrective in nature, which means the trend is intact, and the trend right now is down, obviously. So the downside trend has not been broken until I see a clear kind of 5-wave move to the upside. There's no impulsive move to the upside neither. So that is another issue on that chart. So it is, I think we can turn around from here. It might be a good price level, without any financial advice, to consider some dollar cost averaging around this area, to try, take the lower prices if they come, but at least we're getting some exposure. And the next 1-2 weeks will tell, honestly. I think November has chances to be Moonvember, right? But it could at the same time also keep dipping. And the longer we stay down here, guys, the more unrealistic it gets to see another high. So the top might be in, but again, there's no confirmation yet as well that we're in a bear market. Literally nothing, because the markers are still okay. Right now I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart here to wrap the whole TA section up. And we've been talking about the 55, or actually the 50 week I think 55 is probably even better because that's what most traders are looking at. Yeah, I think that's even more accurate. So the 55-week simple moving average has been providing, like some support here on the Bitcoin chart, basically since 2000, since 2023. And now we tested it again. We slightly broke below as we did before, right? But usually that has been happened before, like at least a few times. You see a sell-off and you see a bounce from that level. You see a sell-off and you see a bounce from that level, and we see a sell-off and we might see a bounce from that level. Right now, the price is reacting to it. I think for Bitcoin, the $105,000 level, around that level is right now the first invalidation point for direct path down. That means if we break the 105,000 here, I think the chances become higher that we can move up from there. As long as we trade below that level, I do fear that, again, same with Solana, there might be another low because this as well is the same structure, A, B, C, right? Not a 5-wave move to the upside. So I need to see a 5-wave move to the upside that is complete and ends above $105,000. And then this scenario of the bounce from the 55 simple moving average becomes more realistic. So we can go up from there as we did before, and then we might also see a new, a new high. One more thing to the Bitcoin chart. So far, when you look at this, especially since 2024, we saw pretty pretty steep incline in the price, and then we see a sell-off that tests a previous high, right? So basically here, this level tests the previous high. Then we see a big impactful move to the upside, or a steep move to the upside. Then we see a pullback, and we are again testing the previous highs from the previous impactful or impulse to the upside. Now we test that again, and from there we pump again to the upside, impulsive, and we retrace and we retest the previous highs, right? So we've seen this playbook, kind of going on for a while now, literally over years. That is one thing I observe. Next to that is the 55-week simple moving average that also, is coincidentally in the same range. And then last but not least, let's check out the Bitcoin RSI, because it has been a really, really helpful kind of signal for when the price turns around. We haven't entered oversold territory below 30 yet. Whenever we did that on the daily chart, we usually found support somewhere in that region and turned around from there, right? So I think we might see, that's what I say, like we need to either that's it, right? And we're already deep in the red right now, and the market is going to turn around. Or, still plausible, guys, we see one more pullback, complete the downside move, print one more low on the RSI so that we're deep in the oversold, and then we go up. Okay, so there's a few scenarios here, and as you all know, Bitcoin and Solana are quite correlated, even though this seems to be the Bitcoin cycle, because Bitcoin dominance is right now in an uptrend. But guys, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to the charts right now and to prices. Let's stop looking at the prices for now. Let's stop taking the TA too much time of today's EP. But I think it is important to zoom out a little bit. And again, here's some key facts, some TLDR from all this. The recent sell-off was definitely harsher than most people expected. Like it went down much more. There's no clear reason why it happened. Okay, I can't tell you. People always ask, why is the price dumping? It doesn't really matter. Just look at the charts and see what's going on. Again, we're still in an uptrend. The uptrend hasn't been the long-term uptrend hasn't been invalidated. I can't tell you that we're in a bear market yet. I would consider this more as long as the 55 simple moving average on the Bitcoin chart gets significantly broken. What does significantly broken mean? It would be a 2 weekly candle close below the 55 moving average, right? So if that happens in the next 4 weeks, we might have to accept that the top is in and 2026 starts, and we could enter some sort of prolonged sideways movement, which is a correction basically. I don't think we're going to dump until $60,000 Bitcoin, even if we enter a bear market. But I think it would be an environment where prices might go sideways a little bit. Bitcoin reaches $78,000-$80,000, and it would hover around there, and would be quite boring for people that want to see price action, right? That would be the bear market until we go up again. And this is realistic considering macroeconomic kind of outlooks right now. Just keep in mind, the Federal Reserve has been announcing rate cuts that will happen going forward in December, in 2026. Quantitative tightening, so basically the reduction of the balance sheet, is going to stop in December, which has been announced from Powell. What happens after is usually quantitative easing at some point, so that's to be expected in the beginning of 2026, which would mean money printing. And if you remember what happened last time we printed a lot of money, right? Usually that is good for risk on assets. But before these things happen, sometimes the market takes a dump and does a little correction. So, it is what it is. Let's take a quick look at our flash trade. Let's check out what happened. Oh, actually, it was a good opening. So that's what I say. Like, let's not pretend I know what I'm doing here, because you can't trade Solana on the 1 minute chart with a lot of strategy. It just doesn't work. But also, the price might pull back even further. But I think what you can do if you trade such small kind of time levels, the entry is crucial because you have a tight leverage, so you have to time the entry. You can't sit it out. So either it drops below and you have to stop. Actually, we should put a stop loss here somewhere. Let me put a stop loss. Let me put it to 102,655. And this is how easy it is on Flash Trade, by the way. So stop loss is set so that we don't lose the whole $25 if we break down here. But if my scenario becomes real, then this is the resistance right now, or the support, sorry, that has been provided here on these levels. That is support. And from here we go up. So it might work. It might work out, but we also might get stopped out here before the price turns up. This is like a very high risk trade here, okay? Anyway, back to topics. What are we gonna talk about first? I have a few, as I told you, we have a few important items that we wanna tackle on today's show. And when it comes to Solana updates, because prices are doing what prices will do, they go up, and after they go up, they go down, and vice versa. Get used to it. But on Solana, we keep cooking new things, and there's two big infra updates that I want to run by you guys. And the first one is from Ansa, directly from Ansa, the company that has been spun up out of Solana Labs, really. So some of the core infra builders around Solana, and they've put out a Solana improvement document, a SIMD, with the number 0307, very technical. SIMD 0307 is proposing to add a block footer to each Solana block containing additional metadata about the block's producer. This ensures every block carries info on who made it and exactly when it started. So they posted this thread on Twitter, and additionally to the thread, you also have some further information about the whole SIMD 0307 on the GitHub. There's a GitHub repo where you can also, from Solana Foundation, where you can basically check out the full thing. And it should be probably also linked right here, the GitHub Solana improvement document for 0307. Now, when it comes to the actual announcement, what do we make of it? Well, first of all, these guys know what they're doing. Ansa has built the a lot of core infrastructure when it comes to Solana blockchain. If they do something, it usually has a meaning, and there is a need for whatever the fuck they're proposing. Adding a block footer is basically a small tag at the end of every Solana block that would include key info about who built that block and when it was built. And this is basically helping us to be more transparent and making things easier to track historically. At this very moment, figuring out who produced the block and the exact timing relies on data that is usually temporary, so it's not on the blockchain, or it's rough estimates. So it's hard to analyze the history accurately. You know, just like some basic facts about when this block came to life, right? The footer would fix that by making such a system kind of built into the blockchain in a reliable and immutable manner. What exactly is in the footer? So you would have a super precise timestamp down to nanoseconds. So actually fucking super precise. Nanoseconds are, they are very small. And this is one information you get. So a timestamp of when the leader started building that block. And you would get a user agent string that IDs the software used. For example, is it Agave on V3, or has it been FireDancer, or what software is being used to build that block? So everyone really would know the tools and versions involved, and the timing as well. As I said earlier, why is this interesting? It adds transparency for devs and users, and it makes like the current manual setups to track this historical data obsolete. So, yep, definitely an improvement for Solana blockchain. I don't know what would really talk against this. I guess adding metadata could technically involve some additional costs. I think the community right now is open to it. I haven't heard any big critical statements, but we'll see. Usually there's a voting that happens from all the validators on a new SIMD, and if it's passed, then it will be implemented. That is SIMD 0307, but that has not been everything when it comes to Solana updates. Nope. Yesterday, we announced, actually on the Soul Brothers account as well, and various other accounts did the same thing. We announced something called Harmonic, bigger and faster blocks. And we made a video about it, but you also find the main post under harmonic_GG on Twitter. And yeah, guys, I think last time I checked the Harmonic account before we made this announcement, it had 100 followers or something. Now we announced that it's being launched, and now we're already at 2,100. So that is the power of the Solana Creator Collective, because a bunch of people, like Soul Brothers as well, made content about this, because we think this could be a really good upgrade for Solana infrastructure. And before we talk about what it really is, let me just tell you, if anything makes Solana faster and more efficient and brings us closer to being the home for all assets that are going to trade on a blockchain, why the fuck not? Obviously, you have to unpack a little bit what are the downsides of implementing things like this. For this, we would have to probably spend a whole episode to dive a bit deeper. But for now, I can tell you that Harmonic is backed by Paradigm. It replaces the current block building bottleneck with a coordinated aggregation layer that routes builders' proposals to validators in real time. So basically, it acts like a marketplace aggregator. It collects block proposals from multiple independent builders in real time and sends them to validators. And then validators can pick the best one on their own rules, using a drop-in client that fits right into their existing setup without locking them in. So what sounds really fancy and technical is basically an auction marketplace, a bidding system that allows block builders to propose to validators that they are the best fit to build a block. And usually these guys compete on costs, right? So whoever proposes the best deal for a validator, where validators are making the highest rewards, that block will be built and validated by the validator. It includes custom policies for validators like maximizing MEV, which is extra value, maximum extractable value, extra value from transaction ordering. It will also set rules to include or exclude certain transactions and optional app-controlled execution, which is ACE for better app-specific ordering. It also has a smart scheduler that picks the highest value blocks that match your preferences. So I think, yeah, it can help the overall validator ecosystem, because usually tech like this can boost validator earnings. It can raise the network's speed and performance, which was what I initially pointed at, through basically a competitive marketplace where everyone needs to compete for efficiency. And this is really what we need, because these systems, if implemented correctly, they just run by themselves. They just make sense. There's like a few upside things as well for users, because this can also result to fair transaction inclusion. So that means less delays and protection from things like sandwich attacks. So overall, I think it makes Solana stronger. It keeps markets open, right? And it gives power back to validators in an ecosystem where we should, sometimes put a little bit of respect, send a little bit of love to our validators, really. So that's Harmonic. And yeah, these two updates are right now already live when it comes to Harmonic, or in discussion when it comes to Cindy 0307. Quite technical. You got it all on Sol Brothers. You got the charts, you got open trades. What is Flash Trade doing? And you got some tech talk. Not TED Talk, tech talk. We're still in plus. We already made $2.60 after fees, guys. Isn't that amazing? $3.22. It's already coffee. You can get rich on Flash Trade or lose it all. It's all up to you. We keep that open. I think we keep it open because we do have a good entry. I will just keep the trade, and if we get stopped out, then we're going to lose like half of our investment here, which is $25, or we're going to see some pump here. You can technically, if you're lucky, literally lucky, there's not a lot of skill involved in this, you can make $1,000 with a $25 trade. Is it going to be that one? We'll see. But let's move on the agenda, really, and talk about the next thing that we got prepared for you guys. And this is going to be Dupe, an AI shopping app. Dupe Solana posted about their launch, basically. Dupe is just a furniture site, they said. Not anymore. V1 coming to the App Store next week, where we're about to onboard millions of people to Solana. Cool. Okay, let's check it out. Solana reacted as well to this post. They did a fancy launch video here. And I have personally not heard about Dupe yet. They are saying that they're disrupting Amazon by building the front door for deals on the internet. 20 million users. Okay, 20 million users. They have already 20 million users, bringing the $5 trillion e-com market to AI. Okay, no, I think they're targeting a 20 million user market, because that would be crazy. Interesting. They also posted about the Dupe flywheel, the economic layer for AI commerce. The internet made everything available, but not everything affordable. E-commerce is a $5 trillion supermassive global market steeped in inefficiencies. Two identical sofas might sell for $3,200 at one retailer and $1,150 at another. Same factory, same thing. This is true in home goods, fashion, accessories, and beauty, among other categories. So many people don't realize they're overpaying for the same product listed under different brands on retailers. It's fragmented, prices are inconsistent, shoppers waste hours hunting for deals. That is true. So a solution they're proposing is an AI commerce, what Stripe is to payments. That is what Dupe is to AI commerce. Dupe solves the most pernicious, never heard that word, problems in e-commerce: consumer price discovery and minimizing buyer regret. We find identical or near identical products across the web at incredible deals, okay, often 60 to 70 to 80% less than the product the shopper was just looking at, and it's working. Over the last 60 months, we've tested our infrastructure on 18 million shoppers, okay, indexed hundreds of millions of products, and driven 75 million in GMV. I'll find out, with an average of 6% conversion rate, nearly 2 times the industry norm. okay, here's what the broader industry data says. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I mean, I think they might be up to something, because they are solving a problem that is available for a lot of people in the internet, and definitely not only crypto people, so but first and foremost the broader public, and just shopping, right? What requires a little bit of deep dive would be the dupe token and the dupe flywheel, because obviously we don't really know how a token fits in that. But okay, they lied. Okay, introducing the dupe token flywheel. Every part of the system strengthens the next. Okay, we don't need to unpack this in detail, but it looks like they basically are a deflationary token project. So they will burn token bias from certain events in their infrastructure, or they buy back tokens from shoppers, basically. Okay, interesting. That it could work if you guys can lift it off and get a bunch of users for this. Yeah, interesting. I think it's worth keeping an eye on these, on the guys at Dupe. I have personally not heard from there yet. They are definitely new on the block, but they seem to make some waves now. But they're not the only one that makes waves on Solana right now, because Ore is now available on mobile. Mining meets mobile. And yeah, Ore is definitely one of very interesting projects. They've been around for probably a year now, or even more. And now there's an app directly on the Seeker where you can use Ore today and mine no matter where you go, which is really cool. So I think they also got like a bunch of ecosystem shoutouts. I saw Matty from Colosseum talk about them on the timeline. We see, Matty says, it is incredibly bullish that HarderChat thought what HarderChat thought about yield. Okay, they're just making fun of each other. And Toli is also fairly bullish on the project because he's been vocal about it, sorry, since a while. Yeah, I think I've personally never used it. I know let's break it down. It's a unique cryptocurrency built right on the Solana blockchain. Think of it as a mineable digital asset that anyone can create or mine using everyday devices like your laptop or phone. It's not like Bitcoin energy hungry mining. Instead, it's a proof of work system running as a smart contract on Solana's fast, low cost network. So it's a proof of work system on Solana. Definitely interesting. Aura adds a layer of proof of work for its own token distribution, and it creates a fair, decentralized way to earn Aura without needing massive hardware setups, which is, I think, one of the reasons why they took off so well, because everyone can mine Aura. Mining Aura involves solving simple math puzzles, which is usually how proof of work works. I mean, not the same, but a similar system for Bitcoin. It happens with a user-friendly interface, or you can do it directly via the CLI. You connect to Solana wallet, pay a tiny fee to submit a challenge, and if your device finds the right solution, you claim rewards in Aura. So that's pretty cool. I think they launched in 2024 with a V2 with better tokenomics, and now they're still fairly active, and now also on the Seeker. I think that's pretty cool. I think it is also an interesting way to onboard people to Solana, honestly, because this is fun. You can mine a cryptocurrency directly from your phone. I want my fucking Seeker. It is still in some location where I can't access it right now because I'm not there. I also want to know what Shimp Nosa is saying regarding the tokenomics of Aura. He says Aura has the best tokenomics in all crypto. That is a big statement. Negative net volume, more Aura leaving circulation than being minted. On-chain proof of work issuance, minute by minute rewards, stake boosted payouts. Yup, on-chain proof of work issuance. Unbelievable metrics for a less than 50 million market cap protocol. Okay, not bad. Yeah, $3,500 deployed each minute. $23,000 jackpot waiting to be grabbed, $200,000 revenue in the last 24 hours. Yeah, I've seen that around. I've seen that Aura is definitely fairly cheap compared to the stats they have, compared to other market caps from other tokens that don't have these stats. It's a Solana native token, protocol revenue sharing offering plus 20% APY, refining and buybacks favoring long-term holders, mining accessible to literally anybody. November. Guys, check out Aura. I mean, I'm intrigued myself. Maybe I should take a look, but just no time to fuck around these days. But I'd love to. I'd love to fuck around more. What else do we got, guys? Let's move on right to the next one. Let's not talk more about Aura. I want to talk about some validator discussions. We've talked about validator upgrades. We talked about a new SIMD today. We talked about Harmonic as well, which should give some extra value and incentives to validators, or at least help them earn more rewards. Now, Solana's validator count is declining at a rapid pace, and it's a bit alarming because we are a decentralized proof of stake blockchain, and we want to stay as decentralized as possible because that's the whole point. Because when my friends ask me, hey, Simon, why is Solana tamper-proof? I tell them, well, there's a bunch of machines running the whole world and no one can take over the whole system because it wouldn't be economically feasible, or also it would make no sense, according to game theory, to spend so much money on taking over the system. But that only works if we are fairly decentralized. Now, early 2023, we had 2,500 validators. Today, we have less than 900. So that's a 64% collapse in decentralization. Is that alarming? Depends. Let's break it down a little bit more. While competitors are losing validators, Ethereum is doing the opposite. They have almost 1 million validators, the most decentralized secure network in crypto. New validators coming online every single day, billions in real economic activity secured by Ethereum. Other chains scale by sacrificing decentralization. Ethereum scales without ever giving up security, and that's why the world builds on ETH. Yeah, calm down, bro. The settlement layer of the world won't be secured by a shrinking validator set. It will be secured by Ethereum. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So first my take, then we can look at a few of these other takes. It is a journey, right? I don't think we need 10,000 validators securing the network. I think it needs to be sufficiently decentralized so no single authority or single power can take over the network and do malicious interactions with it. As long as that is the case, I think we're on the right way. Now, looking forward to, or just here's the thing, like it got easier to spin up validators, but it got harder to keep them profitable. So that means the hardware requirements on Solana are still higher than for Ethereum, but it's not infeasible, right? Like you spent a couple $1,000 for the total hardware required, like less than 10K, and you own the hardware to actually validate transactions with your servers on both testnet and mainnet. Now, if you have that set up, you have vote costs that are usually diminishing your profit significantly because they're quite expensive. After deducting vote costs, you do have the rewards from MEV, from tips, and the normal block rewards, and they will be your profit as a validator. You're only profitable if you have a certain amount of Solana staked to your validator. If you can't reach that stake level, you're fucked, basically, because you're operating at a negative and you can close down your validator. I suppose this is what happened to a lot of people over the past years or months. They just weren't able to secure enough Solana stake to keep their validator profitable. We have amazing delegation programs on Solana that are supporting validators to get Solana from basically delegated entities. That works really well, especially if it's run by independent delegators like the Vault or Aeropool or Dinosaur or some of these legends, right? There's the Solana Foundation delegation program, which is a bit more controversial because on the one hand, it helps validators to stay afloat. On the other side, it is fairly centralized. If all the validators on Solana, especially smaller ones, rely 100% on Foundation Solana, which is a grant basically you get, a loan in Solana, that is, at the end of the day, it's not real decentralization. It's fake decentralization. If there's like 100 validators that are all only profitable because Solana Foundation gave them money, probably not the best. And this is why Solana Foundation also decided to scale down the SFDP, the Solana Foundation Delegation Program, to 50% instead of 100% match. So far, if I get 20,000 Sol from somewhere, Foundation gives me another 20,000 on top as a grant, up to 100,000 Sol. In future, in the next couple epochs already, we're transitioning right now, I'm only getting half the match. So if I get 20K from somewhere, I only get 10K from Solana Foundation. Why do they do it? Because they want more independence, I would say, and they want to wash out the validators that can't make it by themselves. Let's see what Tom from DZ is for 00 is saying. My brother in blockchain. There were some leaps taken here. I write this as user of both ETH and Solana and recovering validator sales. First, validator count is not decentralization. ETH has nearly 1 million nodes, mainly because it does not support delegation, and there's a hard cap of 32 ETH. If Coinbase, Figment, Kraken, Binance could keep all the stake on a single validator, your node count drops by 330,000. Lido would just run a single cluster, you would lose 265,000 more. Again, fake decentralization, because validator count does not equal decentralization. Good point. Secondly, many nodes are the same providers. So me contracting a validator firm to run 6 nodes has the same effect on decentralization than one node with 192 ETH on it, especially if they're all hosted in one of 2 clouds. So it looks good from the outside, but a lot of times there's clusters that are run by the same entities. Stake centralization, the top 10 ETH staking firms account for over 60% of staked ETH. Well, is that really decentralized? Cloud provider centralization, 36% of ETH nodes are run in Amazon. Include Google and you're at 40%. If this much stake sits in 2 cloud providers, the attack surface isn't the validator account, it's the cloud concentration. In February 2025, bottom 725 Solana validators accounted for less than 3% of stake. Many of the validators that churned out had little or no stake. They weren't producing blocks or contributing to security. Election results don't change when people who never cast ballots stop showing up. They're just as safe. Great take. I think Tom basically nailed it. Not sure how you recover from that one. Little crypto Gucci.eth GM bad, whatever. Yep. So, I mean, yeah, shots fired because he tries to make a point, but I do think usually these discussions are a bit more granular than what people think. It is what it is, guys. Now, enough validator talk. I want to see what our trade is doing because I think we're still alive. We're still in profit, but only 30 cents. So basically price is hovering around here. It's not making higher highs. I think we could, technically my thesis didn't really play out. I was hoping on a push to the upside. It already took a little bit too long. So I'm going to give it a last chance by moving my stop loss directly to entry. You see how smooth that is on Flash Trade? So I'm moving my stop loss directly to entry to just because I feel like my scenario, I make it sound like I'm so sophisticated trading the 1 minute chart on Solana, 5 minute chart, but actually this is pure gamble. But if, as a general rule, which is actually a fact, if your scenario is not playing out shortly after you open a trade, you might want to consider just closing it down. Or if you are in profit, but only slightly, don't gamble it. Put your stop loss at entry so that you're at least not losing a lot of money, only the fees maybe. Or even if you put the stop loss a little higher, you're going back with 0-0. That's just some advice because a lot of times people are holding on to their trades and that usually leads to liquidation. Because if your scenario is not playing out, what are you doing? You can just close it, wait for the next entry. My scenario was, okay, we are in these pullback regions here. From here we can go up, but I haven't seen the big move to the upside yet. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see if we're getting stopped out right now before we continue to the agenda. No, we're not. Maybe we are. Okay, let's look away. Let's not look at it. That usually helps. The odds that makes the gods happy. Guys, we need to move on here. We have a few more items to cover. One of them is that markets are down, but Solana keeps building. Solana posted themselves on Solana account. Don't be afraid of red candles. Red candles make the community. Don't be afraid of FUD. FUD creates community. Don't be afraid of bear markets. The best successes come out of bear markets. It's a good point. But then on the other side as well, if you get fucked, it hurts. Don't clip that. It can hurt. Depends how. Okay, don't clip that. So basically, there's like people always say, yeah, bear markets are okay. Like everyone is so positive about it. But I also want to, I want to acknowledge that it sucks if price go down because people are losing money. Some people are getting liquidated. Maybe you got liquidated. Maybe you have open positions right now that are underwater and minus, and it just hurts looking at it. So it sucks, right? It does suck. And we can't really talk it nice, I think. I mean, it sounds good to say don't be afraid of red candles. Red candles make the community. I think green candles make the community. What is true, though, is that bear markets usually prove who can sit it out, right? And who was just a tourist checking out what's happening. And I think it is okay to wash out the tourists and keep the believers in. That's usually what bear markets are. And bear markets, it's almost like it kind of boils it down to the core community who is actually moving the needle, because these people stick around, the others leave, and then when the bull market comes, these people who stick around can benefit from it. But it can hurt a little bit. It can hurt. So yeah, let's see. I don't think we're in the bear market yet. As I said initially, we still have hopes to move higher. Now, talking of moving higher, Software is shipping relentlessly, and they introduced Software limit orders. Limit orders can transform the way you trade on Solana. Okay, let's take a look at that meme. We're looking at a meme right now where Daddy's coming into a room. Are you winning, son? Son is laying in bed with his cozy Software blanket. Yes, Dad, my limit order bought the dip. And then we have a screen that says order fulfilled. Amazing. Very creative. Dear content house at Software. It's funny though. Very clear what's happening here. You can set a specific buying price for any token and your order fills automatically when the market hits it. No need to constantly watch the charts. That's what limit orders do. So you can either swap, trade right now at market price, or you can put a limit order. So basically you're saying, I want to buy $10 off Solana when the price hits 155. This way you can basically map out a strategy, and instead of just FOMOing into it, you can make sure, okay, I'll only buy in at these price levels. If the price hits that, I'm going to buy. You set your limit order, you walk away. The best traders stay in control and turn volatility into opportunity, even while they sleep. Yep, cool. So in the Software mobile app, you just had to swap, you switch to limit, you choose the tokens, you set a target price, you confirm, and that's it. You can track progress in open trades. Cool. Software keeps cooking. They keep cooking. And another piece of news on the Software agenda here is that they joined Monkey Foundry, which is basically the Monkey DAO startup program. So Monkey has Monkey Ventures. They invest in startups as well, and Monkey Foundry is considered to be an incubator, like for early projects that can join Monkey Foundry. They can apply, and yeah, you can then get some strategic advice from all the people that are working with Monkey Foundry, including Software. Software is a key partner to help projects grow, and they just partnered up with Monkey Foundry. Monkey Foundry was built with Monkey DAO before. That's maybe what you're used to. And yeah, they will support early stage founders to wallet infrastructure, technical expertise, and ecosystem reach. You got to give it to Software. They just keep working with the Solana core community a lot, which is something I really appreciate. Another thing I appreciate is that SNS and .sol domains are now live on Orb. Orb.helios.dev. We talked about this last week. It is a new Solana Explorer that is actually really neat. You can check it out yourself by going to orb.solana.helios.dev .dev. And now you have .sol domains right in the Explorer, so you can search wallet activity by name and view all .sol domains tied to wallet in one place. So that's really cool. We have a little explainer video here as well, where you can see how that works. So you can basically just search for any .sol domain. Wallet not needed .sol. That's a great domain, not gonna lie. And yeah, then this is like, you can basically just, instead of copy pasting pub keys, you can use that. And you can also see what other domains this user holds. This guy has fucking endless amounts of .sol domains here in that video that we're watching. so that's great. Yeah, one thing I wanna shout out to SNS is that they are really well integrated in the whole Solana ecosystem, which is important for domains. That's the whole point, right? You wanna extract away the pub key everywhere, literally everywhere. Everywhere where you have consumer apps, we want to see .sol domains. That'd be great. I think that's the future SNS is envisioning. And yeah, with Helios and orb.helios.dev, you can now find your .sol domains over there as well. But that's not everything I have for you from SNS. We can also take a look at some stats directly from SNS here, because registrations were really busy. More .sol names in the wild. We have 7-day statistics of SNS where they did $22,000 of secondary volume. So a lot of domain sales happened in the last 7 days. 200 sales, actually, to be frank. We also have more than $200,000 of registration volume. So a lot of new domains as well were spun up. $180,000 in domain value for free coupon claims throughout all their marketing campaigns they're running, and more than 9,900 or 9,700 registrations of domains. So definitely shout out to the activity on the .sol network. Top sales is Gengar.sol, no idea what that means. $15,000 for that domain. Snowden.sol, interesting, 1,700 USD, or 421.sol, because you can also just type in a number. Interesting. The most volume was made in the Gen 1 Pokemon category, which is a new category on SNS for domains. And if you fancy some more stats, I can give you some more stats, because when it comes to the flash trade ecosystem, I'm wearing my merch right now, by the way, with the old brand here. But the new flash trade logo looks like this. If you look in the video, you see it. And we have the monthly report from Flash Trade for October 2025. To give you the TLDR here, we have more than $400 million of monthly volume. We have more than $400,000 of liquidity pool PNL. So more than $400,000 were paid out to LPs. Total fees earned in USDC are $280,000, and FAF stakers got $40,000 worth of revenue shared with them. And another 40,000, the other half, went to the protocol for operations. Now we have 650 million total FAF staked, which is really, really good. Margin Engine V2 is going to be a wild update. It is under construction right now. I believe we might see it this year. Let's see what Breakpoint brings, but latest early next year. Also really cool to see is FLP1 PNL, $500,000 just in the FLP1 pool. That is also really cool. And 10 million of FAF tokens have been paid out as Epoch Awards in October to people that staked their token. Another thing worth mentioning, FlashTrade also added Meteora, obviously, to leverage trade, and 00 on day one, and also Zcash. So we can also trade Zcash now with 50x leverage directly on FlashTrade, which is also really cool. Last but not least, another small news from FlashTrade. They welcome Ale Labs, which is a specialized research lab in DeFi. They're doing a lot of strategic advice for companies. They're doing data science, analytics, and risk management. They've been around since 2023. And I think these guys are now also one of the bigger liquidity providers for FLP1, which is great, because more liquidity in the liquidity pool means also better trading experience, because you need liquidity to open leverage trades on the platform. That's how the peer-to-pool model works. Yep, guys, I think we ran through most of the agenda and covered the most important points here. I think we can take a final look at our trade here and see, oh, actually, we're out. I think we're out. We got stopped out. We lost $1, guys. Oh no, don't trade with 150x, ladies and gentlemen. I could have also left it open because the price might turn back to the upside, but it is a bit too tricky. Maybe next time we're gonna be more successful with our leverage trade on flash trade, because we're gonna do it hopefully in the next episode as well. So this is it for today, guys. I hope you got the TLDR and the most important bits and news from the Solana ecosystem and the past couple of days. Make sure to stay with us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, make sure to follow us also on Twitter if you don't do that yet, because if you're not following us on Twitter, then what the fuck are you doing? Also, you can definitely also check out Flash Trade yourself if you want to trade on that platform. Let me give you a little nugget here. You can use the referral link, which is basically flash.trade/referral equals bro, with a question mark before the referral. And that link will give you some extra VP, if I'm not mistaken, some voltage points if you sign up to that link. All you have to do is basically log into Flash Trade for the first time with a Flash wallet using our link, and you will then register to Flash Trade by clicking a button on their token page, and then you're in, and then you can open your trades, you can accrue voltage points, and that will help you to get a revenue share every single epoch, and you can even stake some FAB. So shout out to Flash Trade and use the flash.trade/referral equals bro code if you want to be a bro trading on Flash Trade. Guys, thanks for joining. I'll see you at the next one, and you have a good rest of the week.